So hello my friends, in today's video I'm going to really kind of battle with the question, is Affinity Photo actually good when it comes to color reproduction or reproduction, when it comes to printing photos? And in my honest opinion, just kind of put that out there right now, 100% I think it's totally good. Yes, I know I spoke in a previous video saying Affinity Photo is not the greatest when it comes to colors because it is sRGB. It does not support RGB or ProPhoto color spaces. And with that, you're not going to get the accuracy of color that you can truly, that's truly possible to make sure your prints are as accurate as they could be. But at the same time, even though that's the case, is it still good enough for normal uses? And in my opinion, I think it's still fantastic. What you're seeing on iPad, and when you compare that to Mac OS X, or if you use Windows and you're comparing that to your LCD, as long as you monitor those and you look at it kind of very clinically, so that as you're adjusting color and exposure and that kind of stuff, what you're going to ultimately get when you print an image is going to be what you see on screen for the most part. There's going to be minute differences, but I don't think most users are going to see that stuff. It's even me at my level, as a fashion and beauty photographer, I don't see it. I definitely feel like, using ProPhoto or Adobe RGB would be better alternatives, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be necessarily that important unless color is 100% non-negotiable to your work. If it's not, then you should be fine. So I want to challenge you guys by showcasing to you guys some of the prints that I've done of some of the images that I've edited here on our channel. You can see me going through the process and editing certain aspects of these images, but I have the prints here, and I want to challenge you guys to really think about, if you're going to be publishing and printing your work in magazines, or you're going to be printing like the images I'm going to showcase to you guys right now, is that going to be something that's totally a deal breaker or mission essential to your work, where it doesn't make any sense to edit on iPad? Because I think editing on iPad is way better than editing on Photoshop. It is significantly better. You can take it wherever you want. You can just edit on the go. It's fantastic, man. I don't like lugging around my MacBook. As small as the MacBook is, I still need a Wacom tablet. It's super inconvenient. So I want to challenge you guys. I think Affinity Photo is fantastic. So we're going to make sure you guys know about it. So here's the first image. All right, I'm going to block my face right now so you guys can really see what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Okay, so that's what it looks like. This is an image that I was editing on our YouTube channel, so you can see how I was going through certain things, but this is the final print. So one of the things I noticed before I printed this image, and something I'll probably end up refixing, is that the saturation was a little bit greater than I personally liked. And I saw that on the computer. But now seeing it in the print, it was exactly what I saw. I mean, I saw the saturation. It was kind of a little bit too saturated for my liking. I kind of like the more pale kind of skin, pastel kind of look. This is a little bit too saturated for my personal taste. But what I saw on the computer is exactly what I actually ended up getting as a print. So I mean, I think this is great. This is 100% edited in Affinity Photo. Yes, I did do some minor color shifts and adjustments using Lightroom, because I prefer to use Lightroom to do a couple of those kind of things. And then when I was editing as the images as a set, that's kind of how I A and B'd to make sure the entire set was color graded the same way, and that the skin tones and luminosity and exposure and things of that nature, those fine-tuned adjustments after the retouching and all that stuff was done, just making sure that it was even. But that was almost like 80 to 90% of the editing process was just done on my iPad Pro, which there's videos on how to do that, so you can kind of see how we've gotten to this result here. But this is just one image, right? So again, I'll put it in front of my face so you can see what it looks like. Okay, image number one, right? Image number one. Let's go over to image number two. So this is image number two, same thing. I'm putting it in front of my face so you guys can see what it looks like. Okay, great. Same thing, edited in Affinity Photo, 80 to 90%, maybe 95% of this image was done in Affinity Photo only. And yeah, everything else was just done in Lightroom, like I was saying before, with just some of the minor fixes in terms of HSL, hue, saturation, luminance, and like highlights and shadows. and then a little bit of general all-purpose color grading. That was literally it. All the retouching was done in Affinity Photo. Dodging and burning was done in Affinity Photo. Fixing bad poopy lighting was done in Affinity Photo. You know, doing any kind of liquefying, any of that stuff, all Affinity Photo. I mean, I could have just printed it directly from Affinity Photo and it'd been basically the same. I just made a couple of minor adjustments. But this was done on a MacBook with the coupling or the combination of an iPad Pro. I didn't use anything else. I don't have a color calibrated monitor. I do not have an external monitor. I don't have a Spider, the Spider monitor calibration. I do not shoot with a Color Pro or X-Rite Passport to make sure my colors are exactly accurate, which means I do need to fix a lot of that stuff in post, which that'll change. I'll get a lot of that stuff, but at the same time, like, this is the result, you know, like, you know, that's why I wanted to showcase this to you guys. I want to challenge you guys to see if this is something that works for you, because for me, I still think that's great. You know, obviously if I had some of the color calibration stuff, it'd be easier because you'd see it a little bit better, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know if I'd really be seeing the difference besides when I'm shooting it and I'm making sure the image that I'm getting is color accurate. I mean, besides that, do you really need the color calibrated monitor? Do you really need all this other stuff? Maybe if you're shooting with maybe phase 1 systems and you're using medium format, 100 megapixel cameras, and you want the absolute greatest of the greatest, okay. I mean, if you're shooting for Vogue, which we will do here shortly, but at the same time, it's just like, for the most part, you're never gonna need that stuff, man. So that's pretty much gonna wrap up today's video. Just to challenge you guys and show you guys some examples of what this stuff actually looks like when you get it printed. These frames, if you're curious, they're from Michaels. Images are printed with a Canon printer. I do not have the model information. My partner has all that stuff. So, but this is just printed on Canon paper. Using just normal standard printing ink. Nothing revolutionary there. The printer's great, but yeah, I mean, that's the result right there. So if you guys think that's sufficient, by all means, edit in Affinity Photo. You don't need to use Photoshop. Just get the app for freaking 15 bucks, 20 bucks. Get an iPad Pro, you're Gucci. You're Gucci Malui, man, if you do that. Or if you want to continue editing in Photoshop and get an external monitor and calibrate it and do all this stuff, you're welcome to do that as well. There's no reason not to do that stuff. It's kind of going above and beyond, but if you want to, by all means. I think Affinity Photo and editing in this fashion is far sufficient for actual publications. And I wanted to show you guys that as an example, so there's proof in the pudding, obviously, so we can back up our claims here. But that's just us. Maybe you guys don't like it, so hey, that's fine. But that wraps up today's video. As always, if you like today's video, leave a thumbs up. Hopefully that was a little bit of value added to you guys and a little bit of consideration to make that would help your work for a little bit as well. Outside of that, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or you want to see a specific video that we can actually speak on because we have the skill set or the knowledge around that, leave that in the comments. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments. We respond to every single one. And then, you know, stay locked into our channel, subscribe if you haven't already. We totally appreciate that. Reach out to us on social media if you have any other specific questions that you don't want to answer or question on us about YouTube for whatever reason. And then until next time, my friends, peace out.